Okay. Hello, jury. Almost all of you are here tonight. It is one day until we have final tribal council, and everyone here is going to cast a vote for a winner, except for Justin, as we know, because Justin will cast 2 votes. But alas, we do have to do one final thing before we get to that point, which is the roundtable. So you are all going to talk about the 3 finalists, their strengths, their weaknesses, what kind of questions you want to ask them, what kind of things you are looking for them to show you in final tribal, all of that fun jazz. So before in other seasons, we kind of just like did going through social, strategic, and physical. We've also done in the past outplay, outwit, outlast, which is basically the same thing. But whatever way you guys want to just kind of like guide the discussion, let me know. And we can just like, if you want to just do one finalist at the time, you can talk about all aspects of their game at that time, like whatever you prefer. So let me know.
Let's do one finalist at a time.
Yeah, let's go one at a time.
Okay, so we'll have you guys cover all aspects then for each finalist at a time. Does anyone have one they want to start with, or do you want me to randomize it?
Which J name do we start with?
Give
Let's
us a
do
J
Jake
name.
last. Yeah, let's do Jake last. Let's start with
Can we start with Jonathan?
that's a good one.
Sure.
Alrighty,
Start
so
with Lappy.
Jonathan, if you guys want to start off, let's say start with the social game. Go ahead.
What social game?
See, I missed Jonathan during the swap portion. Jonathan, during the original part of the game, literally had excuses every single day as to why he wasn't able to social with everybody, and would just pop in randomly at like midnight and be like, hey guys, sorry I wasn't around. I'm just getting in from whatever it was excuse that day. But I'm around to talk, but it's like also crazy fucking late at that point. By the time Merge came around, made things a little bit more difficult to work with him and talk with him. But I'm sure you guys had maybe a little bit better than I did.
So Swap Jonathan was somebody I figured I could work with because when we talked, he's like, yeah, I felt like I was on the bottom because like I wasn't really around too much. So I was like, oh, like sweet. Like that's something I can work with. But then Merge Jonathan was a whole bag of tricks because he'd be like, oh, like, yeah, I'm ready to make a move. Like I'm ready to do something. And he never did. So, and even like I wasn't at the tribal. Noah went home and Noah literally was like, dude, Jonathan, like the meme where they're like poking it with the stick, like, come on, do something. Like he didn't do anything. So that's kind of like you had your chance to do something and people
he was warned. Mm-hmm. And it says something that if each juror, well, I can't speak for each juror, but like I feel like everyone who went out had the same mindset too after me. Like, when is he going to actually start playing for himself and not to other people?
I will say, like, as a credit to Jonathan's social game, I think he's a very likable person. He's very sweet. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met in this community, just like on a human level. But I think that plays into his game in a negative way, and the fact that he takes things too personally and therefore is never willing to make a move because it's going to hurt people's feelings, but really like never proving loyalty to anyone ends up hurting people's feelings more, I think, at the end of the day, because it's not showing a worthy game. Like, I think some other finalists like kind of sniped me a little harder, but I respect it more because they were upfront about it and did it for a reason that made sense for them. But Jonathan never really had that.
And like me and Jonathan were together since day one, actually. And while I think he did play his heart out, but again, I agree with you, Madison. Like at the very end, Jake and even Jordan had the courtesy to say, like, you're gone, like you're done. Jonathan, up till 1 minute before, he didn't even tell me. He said, I'm still weighing the decision between you and Jake. Like, he couldn't even tell that to me. If I'm your number one and we're so close, like, just tell me, John. Like, I'm not mad. I know what's happening. And he couldn't do that, which I think hurts him some, 100%, with me at least.
I would say if we're just speaking on the social game, because we haven't gotten to his strategic part yet. if we're just speaking on a social game, I would kind of co-sign what Madison said as far as he's a very likable guy. I enjoyed my conversations with him. I did not feel, he seemed like somebody that I would want to work with because of his personableness. But then also, like with John, when it came to trying to get him on the phone, hold on, I don't, what did Maggie just type?
See, I didn't want to interrupt y'all. Just make sure to not pay personal tax. I forgot to do the announcement, but you guys.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm doing my best to not do that. But yes, when it came to trying to get him on the phone, I really had difficulty connecting. And it was always, oh, I'll be free tonight. I'll be available tonight. I'll be free tonight. And could that have been because he was on the phone with somebody else? Possibly. Or was he just blowing me off? Possibly. Or was he just not attentive? Possibly. I don't know. So that's where I'm at socially.
Yeah, my experience with him on calls was if I was leaning into what he was saying and I was going along with his plan, he was all about wanting to be on call with me. And we had a lot more calls and talked a lot more within the game. As soon as I started pushing back on anything that Jonathan wanted to do, that was the moment he was like, okay, well, now I'm not free. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I see where I stand. You're suddenly busy when I don't want to do exactly what you want to do. I get that. I see that.
Are we ready to switch to strategic? Or wait, no.
I was going to say, I actually kind of wanted to blend kind of one of the two things into strategic, and I was going to kind of credit Quinn more on her social game. Now, I don't know how Quinn managed to find out how Jonathan thought that like he was taking responsibility for like the Rachel vote out, or one of the other, I couldn't remember the other thing that he was trying to take credit for that was absolutely not his move. But
I can tell you.
Thank you.
Jonathan told me he likes to make silly moves. And that was a silly move of his, I guess. Like he likes to do that. I don't know. I don't think he made any silly moves. But he said
was just in a silly, goofy move.
Yeah. So I said, Jonathan, oh, you're trying to be in a silly, goofy mood. I love it. Like, let's do it. He said, I already made one, the Rachel. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, I felt so bad I left you out of that. And I was like, it's okay. He said, but moving forward, we're together. And then I don't know. It just stopped from there. But that's why he made his little silly move, I guess. Sorry.
I think the silliness in his mind plays into the fact that me, Justin, Quinn, and Rachel reached out to him. It's like, hey, like we're gonna vote together and vote Jordan out here. And he was kind of like, yeah. But then I believe Justin was on the call with me too. And it was Jordan, Jonathan, Destiny, me, and Justin. And I guess Jonathan sent a message to Jordan when we were all on the call together. And Jordan's like, oh, Jonathan, like, why don't you say that out in front of everyone right now? And me and Justin are like, fuck. Like he for sure just messaged Jordan that we were trying to vote him out. And Jonathan didn't like say that. He's like, no, never mind. Like, never mind.
It's okay.
Yeah, because Jordan called him out on the spot. And so I think that was his silly move, was that he was betraying us, when in reality, even if he voted with us, I don't think it would have mattered because the numbers weren't going to work anyway.
Well, that was the thing. He always was dangling in front of me this idea that he was going to turn on Justin, Ian, and Quinn. There was going to come a moment. It was final 7. He was waiting for final 7 to turn on the trio. And I was like, okay, so you're going to flip on them. And then what? With what numbers? Like, you're taking out all of the other people that literally could potentially be these numbers. And at that point I was like, yes, I agree. These are people that need to go. I'm not trying to only vote with them, but there's only so much you can do. But he wants to make a move for the sake of saying he has a move on his resume, but doesn't understand the work that has to go into making a move socially and strategically.
Right.
What I was gonna add, first I'll say, if Justin and Ian, if you guys were present on live night, then y'all would have been there to understand that Jonathan was gonna flip on you and we wouldn't be sitting here right now. But
we would be sitting here still.
but no, the thing that I'm gonna ask Jonathan is I'm gonna ask him rapid fire, because then I'm gonna be like, and it's verifiable with everybody else, because I think agency is very important in this game. And if he's gonna claim that he's making moves, to me, in my opinion, to make a move means that you have convinced somebody else to vote that person. So I'm gonna go rapid fire down the list of boot order from the jury. I'm gonna say, tell me one person that you convinced to vote that person out. Boom, 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 boom. And we'll see. It'll be verifiable. I mean, if he says, hey, I convinced Dean to vote out you, Topher, did you? You know, like that's my question for him. And it won't be that much time wasting, because I'm not asking the other one anything. And then Jake, I'm just gonna, basically pat on the back and give him high fives.
I'm gonna give Jonathan one though. He was why we voted John. I mean, Topher, like, no offense, but I was so mad at you. Like, after I wanted you gone so bad that next tribal, and Jonathan wanted John, and we had to do what he wanted because we needed him on his side. So he did, in a way, convince us to do that. I mean, that is something he did, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what I want to hear.
And I think the other thing for Jonathan is, I mean, he's I don't know who he goes to the end with and beats. I think him versus Jordan, I think that's a good move for him to side with Jordan. I think the problem is now they're linked to somebody else that's gonna mop the floor with them, so to speak. So if he figured out a way to get to the end with somebody else that he could beat by kind of playing a under the radar, like ride the middle type of game, then that's fine. But I think he picked one person incorrectly.
Quick question. Have we moved into strategy, or are we just lumping them all together? I just want to make sure.
We moved into strategy.
Okay. And then again, if you guys want to talk about physical stuff, you can do that too. But yeah, let me know when you're done with Jonathan.
Well, his strategy,
Sounded
Ian,
like
was
you had
fluid
something
before.
to. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, it sounded like Quinn had something to say before. So
Oh, I was going to say, and Justin, I think you told me this. Jonathan might say that he convinced Jordan to vote me when I got out, but I told Jordan and I told Justin, please vote me. And I guess he was like, I flipped the vote from Justin to Quinn. You didn't. I just said, just vote me. It is what it is. So that's just.
Yeah, I mean, Jake wasn't going to vote me anyway.
Right. So I knew that, and I knew that I was toast. So to have any shot, but didn't Jonathan say that to you?
He goes, yeah, I saved you. Like, basically,
I literally said, Jordan, just do it. And I said, Justin, just do it. Like, no, Jonathan. And I voted for him. Sorry, but whatever. Yeah. That's all.
The thing about Jonathan, for me, is I really, 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 really want, I want to vote. He's a nice person, but hearing all these things, Jonathan had every opportunity since day one to form a strategical relationship with me. He had the best opportunity. I knew barely anyone in the cast. I had no agency. He could have scooped me up, and we had 2 conversations. It was about him being a teacher, and he never tried to strengthen that connection with me. So I'm hearing all these conversations Jonathan's supposedly having with everyone, and I'm trying to struggle. I'm like, he still has to figure out there's multiple people going to the jury. And if you're not proving that you're having these thoughts in the beginning to these people, it's kind of hard to convince me at the end.
All right. Are we on to physical?
What
I mean, he threw the Final Four challenge. I feel like to me, as a viewer of the Final Four challenge, I felt like it was a slap in the face. But maybe y'all have a different perspective, and I'm open to having my mind changed.
My thing is, he sits there and says, I did this before and got voted out. I'm going to do it again, knowing that I'm going to go to the end. And while, yes, sure, it got him to the end. Absolutely. And that's something that none of us could do. And I recognize that. However, it's getting him to the end to lose. So like, is it really worth it? At least at that point, if you're winning that final competition, you know for a fact that you're the one making that decision, as opposed to being literally dragged to the end because people know they can beat you.
And it's kind of like, that's just like, if you win that, like, that's something you can, hey, like, I won and, you know, earn the right to be here, not the, hey, I lost the challenge and people preferred to keep me over a bigger threat. Like, it's kind of like you're discrediting your own game by being like, yeah, you guys are going to take me to the end. Like, I don't need to win this challenge to get there.
But he was also able to not win and still be there. Like, Jake and Jordan have wins. Like, isn't that technically a harder road? He was never safe, and we never got him out.
But the
So-
thing
Was
is,
Cassandra
like,
Franklin ever safe in Survivor Fiji? She made Final 3.
there's
I
a
don't
level
thi-
of like having to win competitions because you know you're being targeted, and normally that the main reason that people are targeted is because they're threats to win. And like, Jonathan was never targeted because I think all of us have sat here all game and said he is by no means a threat to win. So why would we all sit here at the end giving him the chance to win and like feel differently than any of us did all game? Which is why we were all so comfortable keeping him around, because we all thought we could beat him too.
And in a lot of ways, I think that Survivor is a game of attrition. Well, I mean, it is a game of attrition by nature, but like every round, we collectively as a people decide who needs to go because there's a reason they need to go, or because they're the biggest threat to us, or there's we have to eliminate somebody. Jonathan was never a candidate to be eliminated. Sometimes that's a good thing, and that's something that you can be verbose about, and you can brag about, and you can use as like your strategy of like, this is what I came to do. And then sometimes it's a final 3 and there's a better candidate.
I guess my question is, did we keep him around because he wasn't a threat, or because we knew he wasn't in great with anybody? Like, I know personally, like, I didn't want to vote Jonathan out because I knew he wasn't gonna put my name down until like it like got down to it. So I guess it's one thing if you don't get your name written down because you're close with everybody and everybody trusts you. And I guess he's kind of in the situation where nobody wrote his name down because nobody really thought he was working with anybody, and he was kind of just doing his own thing and wasn't gonna fight someone in the butt.
I never voted him because I just thought to myself, I can get him out later. I just voted because I didn't think he was a threat to my game, and maybe that speaks to his game. He made himself seem like such a non-threat, but like, I just genuinely didn't like. I don't think he was threatening, and that's why I didn't vote him. But he's in Final 3.
He did get 2 votes in this game at least.
Yikes! Can't relate.
Jordan now?
I was
Sure.
actually I kind of had a way to kind of segue Jonathan into Jordan a little bit, I think, in the fact that I think John and Jordan had very similar. John isn't Jonathan. I forget that John Farrell is also here, so I can't call Jonathan
Okay.
John.
I'm still forgettable. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. No, okay, so I think that Jordan was kind of thrown around as a target for a lot of obvious reasons for a lot of us. But also kind of stopped being targeted as a name so that he could be carried to the end as someone that people thought they could beat because they thought that nobody here liked him, or at least liked his game. I don't want to like say anything personal against Jordan. He obviously, again, made it to the end. Way to go. But I think everybody here kind of expected if Jordan made it to the end, Jordan would have no votes to win, or very, very few.
Anyone want to start?
I was going to say, do we want to start over with his social game?
I'm sure.
I mean,
he had all
because I
the
mean, if
fun.
we want to start on the positive, his physical game was great. He He was good. He
I
was
say
good.
we, yeah, I say we segue into that. Like, I feel like there's a lot to unpack with the social game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Won a lot of challenges.
he did. And he's really good at knowing just where the line is of what you are allowed and not allowed to do.
Yeah, he's really good at
Challenges.
facing the cup the whole time. That's for sure. Oh,
Yes.
never mind. Never mind.
He was
I'm not-
immune a lot. He was immune a lot.
Yeah.
So it's tough to
Good,
vote for him
great,
when he's immune a lot.
great at challenges. Really competitive individual.
Spent
Very
in
competitive.
45 minutes in the bathroom. Like that's determination. Like he
While on
went
the
all
clock.
in on that challenge.
Yeah, while on the clock. I mean,
Got paid.
he's got to have pretty good excuse with the boss as to why he needs to be in the shitter for that long.
He's a
Um,
server. People were running for him.
You got to admit, use the women's was funny when they were knocking and he kept screaming that. That was freaking funny.
Yeah.
My
Good
patience, like,
character.
I
coding,
think
I'm like,
besides
scared me.
Matt, sorry, I think besides Madison, he probably won the most challenges.
Him and Jake tied 2 each.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Well.
All right. Well.
Good.
No, I really handed my immunity comp prowess to Jake on my way out. I said, take it, you'll need it.
Props to Madison for her little immunity run there. Like, yes,
Damn
mother.
straight.
I've never been a comp beast before. I meant that. I knew there was no way to make y'all buy
Yeah.
it that have never played with me before, but I mean it when I say I really don't win comps.
Your
No,
first
I
time, you're
think-
like, this doesn't
think you
happen.
Oh,
I mean, we
but
were just
no.
that bad at comps, Madison.
No, honestly, I don't know what happened there. And a lot of them were like, I had help. I had Destiny's help, or I had Julia Rose help. Julia and I munched that fucking game show.
Should
No,
we
I
move
mean, one of the things that Jordan always claimed was that he was going to be horrible with puzzles. Can Megan or Sam tell us, did he actually finish in last in the puzzle comp there?
Yes.
Okay.
He was a man of his word. For once.
He sure
It took
he
like
sure wasn't
70
finding
minutes,
idols
right?
if he couldn't complete a puzzle.
I just like regarding his game as a whole, I never had an interaction with anyone regarding Jordan that did not end with us talking about how Jordan had rubbed us the wrong way in the game. Like, not a single person like ended speaking only highly of Jordan post like swap for me. And I really, really liked Jordan on my original tribe with him. I loved Jordan. Like, Jordan was probably my number one on that original tribe. And he just like Southern charmed his way into an alliance with me. And that was it for me. And then I realized like, ooh, Jordan's gonna try to run this show, and I don't like to have my show run for me. So I kind of got tense, but like he also would like gaslight me into being like, oh, you haven't spoken to me, you haven't reached out to me, and I'm like, but you're not, like, you're actively working against me. So there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of hypocrisy in Jordan's game.
I'll agree with Madison. Pre-swap Jordan was very different from post-swap Jordan. Post-swap Jordan was very concerned, very, tense about what was going on, always thinking, always conniving. And pre-swap Jordan was very mellow. Like all of our talks were great. And I think it was that sense of security that he had, because we were in a group of 6 before we swapped. When we swapped and he was in the minority, then I think he kind of got caught inside his own head and started overworking.
I feel like I now know what it's like to play Survivor with Philip Shepard and Brandon Hance combined into one person.
Yeah. I mean, I really only got to have one really long conversation with Jordan since I didn't get to meet up with him until post-merge. And in that conversation, he spent time trashing on Prod. He spent time trashing on Noah, who was being loud during the comp. I'm like, get the fuck over it. And also twisting my words from damn, it's pouring outside to you're fucking boring. Which I'm like, no, I did not call you fucking boring. I'm saying it's raining outside. Clean your fucking ears out. And I mean, I could literally tell that he was just trying to feed me a whole bunch of bullshit. Because Jake and I had been close before the swap, and then him and Jake became close during the swap, and he said him and Madison had been close before swap, and I was like, great, let's try and do something with the four of us. And he's like, oh, I don't know, I think I'm done with Madison. It's like, so you're pretty much telling me you don't want to work with me or do anything with me. So it's like, why am I even bothering, like wasting my time, wasting my breath with you?
And
And
he told me, don't you dare mention Rachel's name. When he literally went, don't you dare say her name or you're gonna be like the vote. It's always gonna come back on you. Like, don't you dare do that. I was like, hello?
Like something just from my observations, sorry, my observations with Jordan is there's a lot of self entitlement to information from others without reciprocating any kind of backflow or 100% black flow to the person, which gives people initial like sus vibes of how much is he telling me. And when I had conversations with her beginning, I feel like he had selective hearing. Like he was typing people at once, and he only listened to me when it was like juicy things that he think could like say to flip my words around or turn me against my back. And apparently same with John too. He's heard that. He's tried to like twist words. So there's a lot of selective hearing, and when he tries to hear it kind of gets rambled in his head because he's talking to everyone.
I was told many a times that I am not allowed to talk to other people in the game. Like it had all started at the very beginning. We had a conversation and he told me that Jake wanted to come for Rachel. This is round one. He told me Jake wanted to come for Rachel. So I went to Jake with hey bud, I just talked to Jordan and I'm on board with the plan. And then Jake, I don't know what happened between Jake and Jordan, but then Jordan flipped on me and came at me as if I'm talking too much and I'm spreading too much misinformation and I'm going to this. And literally I had a call with Jordan like every single round that would last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, where like he would be like, so then what's the plan? He's like, I want to work with you. Me and you need to work together because nobody's going to expect us to work together. We have to work together. And I'm like, I get it, man. I get it. I don't want to vote you out. I want you in the end. I don't want you gone. It benefits me for you to be here. Well, then why do I keep hearing you're saying my name? Because you're always the name. You're always the decoy vote. Yeah, but I don't think you should be telling people it's never going to be you. Like literally going in circles. And he's like, your allies are telling, he's like, I was completely blindsided by the Rachel vote. I was like, you voted for Rachel. And he was like, yeah, but your allies voted for me. And they said, you told them to vote for me. And I was like, you're always the decoy vote. Like, I'm like, am I taking crazy pills? And he was like, who are we voting out this round? And I was like, I don't know. It's between Justin and Quinn. And that was the round John went. And he's like, I don't believe you. And I was like, okay, well then what you want me to do? If you don't believe me, then why give you a name at all? Why are we having this conversation? Sorry.
He also sat there like talking the most shit about Destiny out of anybody in the game, and then turned around and told me as soon as Destiny left that Destiny had been his number one the whole time. Looks around. And Jordan said Destiny was his number. Okay. Like as soon as he said that to me, I said, okay, honey. Like
it's kind of the same thing with Jake though, because all post swap it was, I'm about to quit. I can't believe they swapped me with Jake. Me and him have a past. I can't even work with him. You know, he said this, and this about me. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I don't even want to play anymore. And now him and Jake are best buds. So
I need to know how the fuck those two buried their deep hatchet against each other. Because day one, Jake was telling me, I can't stand Jordan over there. I'm like, great, I can't either. This is like day one, I was talking to each other. And then Madison and I are taking bets on our swap tribe. Like, it's either Jake or Jordan going. And then we see it's Christian. And we're like, what? What the fuck just happened?
Almost planned.
literally, it did not make sense.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused. If they did bury the hatchet, like great. I'm glad you're able to put the past behind you. But it seemed like Jordan was more upset by it than Jake was based on the conversations I had with them. If they were able to bury it, great. But like, it's just hard for me to trust you when you're out here bashing the guy. And then the next second you guys are our allies. So it's kind of like, well, what is it? But
I
kudos,
definitely like,
kudos for him for making it to the end. Like,
yeah, and like I tiptoed around it at merge with both of them because I had really, like I said, that I really liked Jordan on my original tribe, and then I really liked Jake after merge. So I was like trying to work out something to maybe work with both of them somehow, but I knew that there was drama, so I was trying to dance around it, and they were like, "Oh no, we're good, but we don't want to work together. But we're good, but we don't want to work together." And I'm like, but you made it to the end together, so make it make sense.
Now, the thing I really need to try and figure out from Jake is, did he tip Jordan off on the merge vote? Because Jake knew that I was going to play the idol. And if Jordan, we pretty much can say Jordan was the one to vote for Noah.
Yes.
No one else has claimed it at this point.
He confirmed it to
He
me.
admitted it to me.
I mean,
confirmed it to me.
Yeah, he's tried confirming a lot of other things too, but yeah, I mean, okay, so if he did do that, did Jake tip him off? That's what I kind of really want to know. Because the only people that really knew that I was going to do something was Jake, Destiny, and then somewhat Madison. So that was interesting to see that there had been that one singular rogue vote. I mean, I don't know if it was out of spite or if it was out of Jake tipping off.
They got the winner out of that game that round, so.
Yeah, kudos for him.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if Jake actually tipped him off, that was a hell of a move by Jake to try and get the trust of Jordan at that point. I have to try and figure. I mean, because I actually put the move on Jordan. I put that move on Jake for getting that done.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and the thing is, like, Jake made, like, I feel like, I don't know if he made final twos with everyone, but like right away on the starting tribe, like he made a final two with me. And like, I was like kind of holding on to that. Like, and I was like, so that would be kind of like a stab to the heart if that was the truth. And Petty Bitch Noah may come out.
Yeah. Because I know, Jake made
with Jake.
Yeah. I had day one with Jake also, yeah. Then we had
raise your hand if you had a final two with Jake. No, just
yeah. I mean, I guess it was us. And then, well, I mean, I can pretty much say Destiny was right there too. Destiny's not here, but because we had a three. Yeah, Destiny, Jake, and I had.
I'm not mad about it because I've had final twos with like a lot of people, so I'm not.
Love you, Topher.
But he didn't like go over the top with it though. He wasn't like in your face about it. Yeah.
And none of us compared notes.
No.
None of us compared notes that much about Jake because he was under the radar enough, but also came through when he needed to. And by the time any of us caught him and what he was doing, it was too late because we were out either already or the next round.
Yeah.
By the time we realized that Jake was the one, yeah, literally, Jake had me misted. Jake had me misted.
Jake literally flirt. I feel like I was misted. Holy, okay. I was misted bad, and I'm usually like the one doing the misting. So I was like taken aback when I found out exactly how.
It started with me when I got out. I mean, it's when Jake was part of that. So
yeah, I credit Jake with getting like me and like the double on me and Destiny because
that was 100% Jake.
Yeah, had Jake not come to me and Madison, I guess there wouldn't have been a certain sense of security in us. And honestly, we probably would have floated to then end up voting out like Destiny because that's where the numbers were going. And then I would have played my idol the second round and we would be at the final 7. It'd be a little different. But Jake had me completely convinced that he was about to flip on y'all. It was the 4 of us voting Justin. The votes were getting split. And this was who was voting for this person, who was voting for this person, and all of that. And it was like, boom. And I was more pissed. I wasn't even pissed at Jake. I was pissed at Jonathan because of Jonathan's message to me saying, oh my God, what just happened that round? I'm
Yep.
trying to piece the pieces together. When it's like, dude, what you wanted to happen happened. Destiny's gone. Are we taking Ian? Oh, I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. So, but I'll give Jake credit because every time I was on call with Jake, Jake's like, dude, nobody's really saying anything to me, man. Nobody's reaching out. This is the first call I've been on this round. Like,
I'm
what do you think
so
the plan
tired,
is?
man.
What are we doing? Like, I've got, like literally, and some of y'all
I
have
just
heard that
got no
impersonation
work,
before.
I'm
So that's
shook.
my call with Jake. We were the hashtag future men. That was our alliance name.
Oh, wow.
I'm not gonna say our alliance name.
I
He
love when
named
you
your
try to do the
alliance
vote
too?
steal.
Oh, he named every single alliance. But that makes you feel
No, what
more in
was
with
it?
him, though.
Yes. Hello, Nick from what was the our alliance was the future man.
David Goliath.
It's
David
too
and Glad,
soon.
yes. Yeah.
It'll come out. It'll come out soon.
Give him $1 million right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you felt at ease talking with Jake no matter what. Like, even the round I went, like, I knew I was scrambling, going right from work, and then I had to be at a bank for an hour. Literally, I hopped on the call I hopped on the call at the fucking gas station and was driving the whole entire time I was being voted out. So it's like I had no time to really, and I was trusting in Jake and trusting in the people that I trusted to like try and get the vote done. And lo and behold, he knew that like he could take advantage of me not being able to scramble.
It should be long enough to reach.
I
Yeah.
think
I've never
that-
so willingly been taken advantage of before.
I think that in a way, Jake and Jordan played similar games, but one of them made me feel like I needed to take like a Xanax afterwards, and the other one kind of just put me asleep and made me feel like nice and cozy and like tucked me into bed, like ready to go to sleep. Like when I talked to Jordan, like he was a 1,000 words a minute, like not letting me get a word in, whereas Jake was just kind of like, hey man, like where do you want to go? Like I'm open to anything. And I felt so like safe and secure, like a warm hug in Jake's arms. Whereas when Jordan was talking to me, and I knew he was talking to everybody, I didn't know Jake was really talking to everybody because he had a nice way of making it seem like you were his priority at that time.
Whereas he was in the same boat as you.
Jordan was on his computer every single time you're trying to talk to me. So it's like, okay, like I see where your priorities are.
Yeah. I just feel like there was a way, like the way you treat people matters, and I feel that socially that's what edges Jake above, the other two. I feel that it's for us, the epic, the crazy part of Survivor, and this was said all the way back in Survivor 1, is how do you vote people out of the game and then in turn ask them to give you $1 million? We're not awarding $1 million, but I got voted out by Jake and I feel good about giving him a vote. Whereas the other two, I don't have that good feeling. If I had to, because Jake was out at third, different conversation, we'd be applying different merits. But for me, all of the boxes get checked and I feel good about the season.
Which kind of leads me into, I would love actually to go first. I would love to ask the question to all three of them. I want them to close their eyes and then I'm going to read off every single juror. And I want them to raise their hand if they think that they have their vote. And we can literally see who they think they have at that point. And we can see blatantly who's going to be overconfident, who's lacking in confidence at this point.
Before I got voted out, Jordan said that Jake is going to get 0 votes. So I am like, cannot wait for this. And in a sick way, I feel bad, but also I can't wait.
Can you elaborate on that? You said that, but like, why? Did he say why he thinks that?
He said he's played with Jake before. He knows how bad Jake is at this, and he does not think that Jake has a shot in hell. And he was very adamant to me and Quinn during our final days. He does not get it.
He's gonna shoot his hand.
It's just delusional.
The girls that get it, and Jordan is not a girl that gets it.
He's gonna purr and slay because of you, Madison, during this. I hope you know.
Stop. If he says yes per in this fucking speech, that's it. I'm like gonna lose my mind. I'm going to
He'll
ask
get my
Jordan what the
vote.
most.
He will get my vote.
No, because I taught him what it means and he still doesn't even know what it means.
Right.
And I've
Plus,
created
Jake
a
is
monster.
very articulate and well spoken. So even if we were wishy-washy, like say our votes were super up in the air about where this was going, like if we're talking who's on the debate team and who's winning the debate, it's gonna be Jake.
It's Jake. It's 100% Jake. Like the only thing that could make my vote for Jake waver is if he does not wear the Spider-Man suit for the finale. Like that's the thing that will upset me.
Yeah.
Megan has her hand up. Oh boy.
Hi, yes, sorry, quick question. I'm gonna pretend like I have been listening to every word this entire time. But you guys are currently on the last person, correct, Jake?
Yes.
You guys already
Yeah.
get with him.
We're on Jake and talking about questions we want to ask.
Okay, beautiful. Because I was gonna ask you questions you want to ask. It also is kind of sounding like you guys are feeling like you have a similar idea. Do you guys think that there's any chance that something could go differently? What would you need from the other finalists you might not be considering as much for you to vote for them, kind of stuff?
For them to be self-aware and accountable.
That's a huge thing right there.
Yeah. I think that honestly, like, so I talked about my question earlier with Jonathan of what I would ask him. Like, if he were to come back at me with the rebuttal of like, I didn't have to, I didn't need to, it was never part of my plan to do that.
Natalie White.
Right. Then it's a different conversation. You know what I mean? Then it's a different, it's like, oh, okay, I'm thinking you're selling me now. But if he starts giving me off names of like, then it's like, okay, you don't have the self-awareness I'm looking for. I honestly, I don't know if there's anything in the world that could cause me to want to vote for Jordan at all. But a solid self-awareness from Jonathan and a total myth by Jake could cause me to vote for Jonathan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt. Destiny, I did see that face when Topher made that.
Oh my god, mommy Destiny!
Yeah.
That's my life.
Destiny,
We all
you
know
want to be in the
Olivia's the real
spotlight
winner.
and tell everyone what you think about the final three? No. Okay. Destiny wants to listen.
Olivia's there.
Yeah,
Does Olivia want to talk about what she
Olivia.
thinks of the final
We've all
three?
decided we're gonna vote for Olivia to win.
Olivia,
Yeah, we wanna hear Olivia's
I'm
thoughts.
voting for whoever Olivia says she's
Olivia, Olivia said she wants the same. So what are your opinion on the final three? It's Jake, Jonathan, and Jordan.
Personally, y'all should vote Jordan.
We should vote. They're voting for the winner, not voting them out.
Okay, good.
You want them to vote Jordan to win the game?
Yeah.
Okay, nope. She doesn't get a vote. Sorry.
I retract my prior statement. I'm no longer voting for whoever Olivia
She
says.
she had me back for a second. I was like, she got us back. And then she goes, no, wait, like vote to win. I'm like, no.
Sometimes age is wisdom. And in this case,
She's got a couple more years.
Doesn't realize what it means to vote for the winner. She's been wanting me to vote Jordan out all game. So yeah, okay.
as she should.
No.
Olivia was
yeah.
woke.
And then the anxiety probably radiates to the chat.
Yeah, no, you couldn't pay me to vote for Jordan. Actually, you could. If he was offering money, I'll take it. That's
Yeah, he might. There's a lot of other things he's been shaky on.
but could we trust him to actually pay it up?
I'd be like, I will write your name down when I get the Venmo notification.
You can trust him. He will tell you that he sent a wire.
Yeah, no. Even then.
Jordan would have the Anna Delvey edit.
Nobody. Yeah, I was gonna say nobody watched Anna Delvey. Oh my god.
No, I don't think even then I don't think I could vote for him. All right, go back to whatever else you guys were talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So how do we make sure? This is what I don't want to see happen.
Wait, can we have to appreciate Noah's food that he just showed us right there? Look.
Ooh.
Wow.
It's Gwen's
Wait.
food.
Oh, I was
I
gonna say,
say
did you guys see the
McDonald's
chicken
up there
waffle?
must be super bougie. Like that ain't no McDonald's.
I didn't want
Um,
to interrupt, but that food was impressive.
Thanks, Madison.
So, is there any chance that because I don't want to be perceived, and I don't feel like we are, as a bitter jury. I feel like we're very much so in consensus of actively praising someone's skills and game, that we're not actively voting against anybody, right? Like,
If I was going to be a bitter juror, Jake was the one and only person who told me that I was leaving the round I was leaving. Like, Justin, you kind of vaguely mentioned it to me, and you were the only other person that kind of like even spoke to me. I got nothing from Jonathan. I got nothing from Jordan. Jake sat on call with me and was like about in tears, like voting me out. And whether it was genuine or not, whatever, but on him, like he gave me the most personal, most genuine goodbye and was the most upfront with me. If I was going to be bitter, I would be bitter at the person who upfront was like, Madison, you gotta go, and I would not be voting for Jake here. I can recognize that that was the best game move, and that voting every single other one of us out was also the best game move for Jake to get there and have the shot to win that he has clearly with all of us.
100%. Jake's best game move was he convinced those other two that he was on the same level. I mean, Jonathan told me if I won that immunity, he would want to vote out Jordan and not Jake. That's a bad read completely. Like, I'm sorry. I was like, how does that make any sense? Jake has to go. And he would, if Jake was able to do that and none of us could, and he just killed it in the game completely.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed.
I think if whoever goes first and asks the first question before we even start, if the first thing we can ask them is to like close their eyes and say, who do you think, whose vote is who? Like the first thing before they can even get a read of what anyone else is thinking. I think that's the most telling of all. Just to be
It's
like,
funny you
hey,
mentioned that, Destiny, because I did right before you came on, I think, actually.
so
I asked to do that.
that's awesome because I think that'll give us like, but they can't know anything else to like go in and have it turn, like have it be how it starts. And then you can really see like who has the best game read on everything going on.
Can I ask actually, Prod, Megan or Sam, how long do they have for opening speeches? Or is there a time limit?
Sorry. 5 minutes. 5 minutes for the opening, 5 minutes for the closing.
Beautiful. Thank you.
What's our time limit with them?
10 minutes as far as I'm aware.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So the piece that you guys didn't get to hear after I muted, Olivia said, Mom, you didn't tell me at the end you vote for the winner. I was so confident on my answer on voting out Jordan. And I was like, it's okay, kiddo. Mom's not voting Jordan, but if you vote someone else, you can cast my vote to win, but you can't say Jordan. It was cute.
Another thing I would like to say, like in the positive, was like, I think it was my first or second round confessional. I was asked like, who's the biggest threat in the game? And I was like, it's definitely Jake. Jake is most likely to win this game. But like, there's nothing like I want to work with him, and I want to I feel like I'm not alone in that. Of like, I think we all actively knew that Jake is like definitely a huge threat in this game. But there was never a moment in this game that I ever feel that he became topic of discussion. I don't recall having a conversation about Jake being the vote. If any of you do, like did he ever have to? I don't think we were that like by him.
He had told me, and I don't know how true it is, but he felt that had they lost again on the swap vibe, that he could have possibly been a target, especially if it was on the cup one that we ended up losing on our side.
I think it was going to be Rachel, I think. Because Jake even
was
voted
left out of the Christian.
No. It would have Jake.
Yeah.
Jonathan and Jordan wouldn't have not let it not be Jake. It almost was Jake over it being Christian for a little while.
Maybe that's
Alrighty,
why
well,
Jonathan and Jordan have such a bad read, is because they think that Jake almost went home, so that he's just not a non-entity in the game now.
Because that was their whole. Jonathan wanted Jake to go home on the music video challenge and then got upset that I wouldn't do it because he edited the video.
That's a
And
fair
then
reason
that-
to not put someone else.
And then started the whole like, you guys are a final two. And I was like, no, I'm just not an asshole. He edited the music video. But sure, Jonathan, if you edit a music video, I'll be sure to vote you out next time. You put in the work, I'll vote you out.
I wish Rachel was here. You know, Jonathan, he was almost the first vote at that tribal council when I was speaking with Rachel, and Rachel's like, okay, well, we're gonna flip it around and it's not gonna be you now, but I need to know, I don't want to vote out through for obvious reasons. And I was like, well, who should go? And she's like, the way that Jonathan plays is exactly the way he ended up playing in this game. And I was like, well, I've got no ties to Jonathan. Let's flip it to Jonathan. And she's like, we don't have time. We do not have time. And so then it didn't happen.
It almost flipped to Noah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Really,
brought up. There was conversations brought up for Jonathan to go, but it didn't happen.
No, I think you were lucky I was on an airplane.
Because you started getting almost as crazy as Theodore did.
I think your best bet is the fact that I was on an airplane and nobody could get a hold of me. And so they didn't know what was going on. Had they had the ability to talk to me and they knew, like, convinced where I was voting, that vote could have flipped.
Yeah. Jake asked me 30 minutes. Yeah. Jake asked me 30 minutes before the vote if we should just flip it to Noah. And I was like, we don't have the time to do anything like that.
Oh, well, I hopped on a call with Rachel and ended up making a final two with her that round, and then made a final two with Noah. I don't know if we ever agreed to a final two, Destiny, but I felt like we had a final two. Made one with Madison at some point. It's.
I think the only person who offered me an official final two was Ian, and I said no.
It was jokingly because she was like, yeah, people had offered me final twos and I said no. So I was like, final two.
I just want to say before we continue to the next topic, I think people mistake me logistically thinking things through for paranoia, or maybe I'm just a paranoid bitch. But I like talking about all options, and that doesn't work so good.
Okay, do we have other things we want to talk about the final three? If not, we can stop the recording and you guys can continue talking about other game things. But I just don't want to make this recording way too long. It'll take forever to upload if you guys aren't, obviously talking about important final tribal things. So I just want to check.
Jake is winning.
Well, there we go.
I'm good with everything. I think we've discussed about a lot of stuff. We've hit on all the points about all three. I think pretty much the only thing left to do is figure out who's going when and what we're going to ask, so that way we're not asking multiple of the same thing.
Alrighty.
Megan, I've got a question before we start.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like a lot of you sound like you're pretty much decided. Put your hands in the air or whatever if you feel there's nothing that anyone else can do to change your mind.
If there's nothing?
Yeah. So if you think Jake's going to win, if you think there's nothing that Jordan and Jonathan can do to change your mind.
I think the only person personally for me that could change my mind would be Jonathan.
Mhm.
Jonathan could change my mind, but for me, it always comes down to FTC performance. And I told all of them. I mean, I told Jake, I was like, you will probably have my vote to win if you make it to the end. But if you flop FTC, you don't get it. Like, that's how I will always work. Like, if Jonathan absolutely pulls this out somehow, by all means, Jordan's
am I leaning towards Jake? Absolutely. But am I going to send in my vote tonight and say it's locked? No. That's not fair that's not fair, and I'm never going to play that way because I've had that happen. It's fucking sucks.
Like Topher said, if Jonathan could come out and be like, yeah, like I didn't just do this willy-nilly and I made these moves because of X, Y, and Z, and he's actually like self-aware and can explain why he kind of rode the middle and didn't tell people certain things, and then I can like kind of believe he knew what he was doing. And I'm excited. I want to hear what he has to say because part of me just brushes him off to the side. So I'm anxious to see what he can say about his game for sure. And I agree. It's between him and Jake, but Jake's kind of here and Jonathan's like here.
And I'll vote for the person who owns their shit the most. So like the first lie, I'm done listening. And so then I already know like I won't listen to Jordan talk because he'll just start off with a lie. His name's probably not even Jordan at this point. And so then from there it'll just go. For me, it's between
It's Nick P.
Nick P.
Right? I bet it is.
iPhone.
I bet it is.
So then from there it's just Jake and Jonathan. I think Jake's a little more, I don't know if it's experience or whatnot, but I think he just has the ability to like own it. It might not be, his logic might be, his side of it. So we might not understand it, but it's his side of it. So we'll see what Jonathan says. He can't do the, oh, I don't know. What do you want to do? Like that won't work for me. He's got to own it. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Prod.
Thank you,
you,
Prod.
guys.
Love you guys.
Roundtable.